This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the HTC EVO Shift 4G on Sprint. It's an Android phone, and despite the name, it's not a replacement or a successor to the original EVO, which is a large 4.3-inch slate-design Android phone. Rather, it's a companion that adds a keyboard. You can see here it's a big, roomy keyboard, and the design overall reminds us a lot of the T-Mobile G2 minus the strange slider. This just has a basic, normal, up and down slider. It's a little bit stiff, that slider. And there's no real spring load. Gee, I feel firmly, like it locked it out and open, but it does stay open just fine. So you can see the phone is blue and it has a soft touch finish over here. And you can see the volume buttons are right here, and they are raised, and they're fairly easy to press, and that means when you're manipulating the slider here, you tend to always hit the volume buttons. Bummer. One nice thing is the screen does operate in landscape mode here when the keyboard is open in the home screen. Of course, most all applications support it, and it has an accelerometer in case you're using the phone with the slider closed. The phone is not too heavy considering it's a slider design phone. It weighs under 6 ounces. You have capacitive touch buttons right here. Once again, I've hit the volume by accident. And a 3.6-inch capacitive multi-touch display here. Nothing super AMOLED, just your normal, sharp, standard LED display. This has an 800 megahertz second-generation Qualcomm Snapdragon CPU, just like the T-Mobile G2 again, and it scores at 1367 on Quadrant, which is very good for a stock phone, running Froyo. And yes, this does have Froyo. And obviously you can see here it has HTC Sense, which is a nice software overlay on top of Android. You get HTC's flip clock with the weather. We've got a media player showing over here. This is the Sprint TV widget. Since it's a Sprint phone, it has all of their services. NASCAR, football, you name it. Telenav, Sprint Zone. And we've got a bookmark page here. HTC FriendStream, we haven't set that up, but you can see your Twitter and Facebook feeds in there, which is pretty nice. Go back. And we've got favorite people to call. Wireless controls right on screen. If you don't want them, you can get rid of them, of course. You can get rid of any of these things if you don't like them. Really big calendar. Nice. And then the standard Google search. The phone has a micro SD card slot, and it is located under the battery back here. Major bummer. You can see this is kind of an interesting angled and raised back. And it doesn't have a super duper battery. It has a 1500 milliamp battery. And that's what you see under here, and the micro SD card slot is underneath the battery there. Your speaker and your lens for your 5 megapixel autofocus camera, which by the way takes a pretty decent shot. And there's an LED flash. And here's HTC's full weather over here, of course. And you've got your full set of notifications up here, standard for Android. You've got location information. We have Wi-Fi on because Sprint's 3G network for some reason is not working really well for us at the moment here. Got a snowstorm going on, that might have something to do with it. The phone does have 4G, hence the name, which means WiMAX. And if we had it turned on, you'd see an indicator over here. We'll show you the wireless controls. We cannot get a WiMAX signal indoors, however, on this phone. It's usually pretty iffy. A MiFi can get it, but beyond that, some of the phones yes, some of the phones no. So here's your wireless settings. You can manage your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth. The Sprint Hotspot feature, this can work with up to 8 clients, which is pretty impressive, though I don't know if you've really got the bandwidth there to keep them all running smoothly. Hotspot management settings. You can turn on 4G here, and if 4G is connected, you can manage. We'll try turning it on again. At least you can see the icon up there on the home screen. Of course, WiMAX is hard on battery life, so if you don't need it, turn it off. So far, this is having better battery life than the EVO 4G, which isn't a hard accomplishment right there. Since one of the very few drawbacks of the EVO is that it has bad battery life. And then you can see here we have the little 4G symbol, which would show you the number of bars of service you had if you had service, but we have an exclamation point because it is not managing to connect, alas. Here you have your applications, pretty much standard here. HTC doesn't really mess with that at all, and that's fine. And the speed is very good. Overall, this is a very fast phone. Quite pleased with it. And you've got Adobe Reader on here, the Amazon MP3 player, all the standard Google apps, the desk clock, news, stocks, all the good HTC stuff that we saw there. Kindle is preloaded on here. Of course, Google Maps with Latitude, Quick Office, and all of the Sprint stuff, including Sprint TV. We can't show you Sprint TV right now because that only runs over 3G, 4G, and we're having some signal problems, so we can't possibly run that. You also get an FM radio here, HTC Footprints, usual music player, Google Talk, and the YouTube player, which we'll take a look at. And we will just pick something from the front page. And there we are running it by default in high quality mode, which is nice. You don't have to switch over to it. As you hear, the speaker's decent. It's not super loud or full though. Well, that's looking really good. That's the YouTube player. Speaking of YouTube, it brings to mind Flash Player, and since this has Froyo OS 2.2, it also supports Flash Player. So we're just going to take a look at a video on our website and see how it plays with Flash. Presence of Flash on the page does slow down the scrolling a bit here. And there's our video.
This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review.
It's looking pretty good.
CES, looking at the LG Optimus 2X.
Yeah, you can see the frame rates though are about 7-8 FIPS there. And that's catching up. Well, frame rate's not so good when you're playing real Flash, unfortunately. It is sharp looking though, and it hasn't crashed the phone. There's that. Oh, we have the keyboard open. Let's take a closer look at that. You've got a little metal D-pad here, which is interesting. It's a four-way mechanical. It clicks. Pressing the center doesn't seem to work though, which is a little strange. If you want to select an item, for example. Let's. So you can see I can navigate around. But if I press the center of the button, which is very hard to do without hitting a directional thing, nope, doesn't do anything. Interesting. So you've got 3 letter rows here in the 4th row down here where you've got your menu, your search, basically your Google keys, your space bar. It's a pretty normal layout. And if you hit the FN key, you've got a .com key here, which is pretty handy. It's an embedded number row, so you've got to use the FN key to select that. And of course you can also use the on-screen keyboard for input as well. Voice quality on the phone is quite good, as we expect from HTC. Reception is also good on the phone. So that's the HTC EVO Shift 4G. Things we like about the phone are the sharp and clear display. 3.6 inches, not that large, but good enough. And the keyboard on it is quite nice. We like the soft touch finish. The looks are kind of mundane and boring. Some things that we don't like are the capacitive buttons. Not that we have anything against touch-sensitive buttons. We love them, but it seems that they're very easy to hit, especially in landscape mode. You're doing something and you accidentally hit the home button and you exit the application you're in. Likewise, the volume keys drive me a little crazy. But if you're looking for a high-end keyboarded device, and Sprint has a lot of entry and mid-range phones, this is a nice alternative to the Samsung, if the Samsung Epic doesn't float your boat. It's got HTC solid build quality and that lovely Sense software. Is it as exciting and sexy as the EVO 4G, that nice big slate phone? No, it's not. This is a little bit more of a business phone. But that said, it does have a very fast CPU, and it should be able to handle some 3D gaming if you've got some 3D games on Android that you like. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review.